Hello YouTube and welcome to another GV anime review. This week I'm reviewing an anime that was quite surprising, let's say. And that anime was Kamisama no Memo-chou, or Heaven's Memo Pad. Heaven's Memo Pad was made by GC Stuff, and you know that GC is one of my favorite animation studios, mostly because of their romance comedies. But Heaven's Memo Pad appeared to be none of that. The main character of Heaven's Memo Pad is Narumi Fujishima. Narumi has a difficult time fitting in and he has no friends. That is until one day when he meets Ayaka Shinozaki, the sole member of the gardening club. She introduces him to Alice, a shut-in girl who is the leader of the Neat Detective Bureau. Together with a bunch of other neats, she solves crimes in the underbelly of the city. Narumi feels like he has finally found a place where he belongs, but he also gets pulled into a world that will change him as a person. Before I start the review, I must warn you that this review will contain one spoiler section, because there is one episode that I have to tell a spoiler about. But as usual, I will tell you in advance when the spoiler is coming up, and I will indicate to which time point in this video you have to skip to avoid the spoiler. The first thing I immediately noticed when starting this anime were the voice actors. When I was watching the first episode, I knew I had heard some of these voices before and they sounded very familiar. So when I looked them up, it became very clear why they sounded so familiar. The three main characters in Heaven's Memo Pad were voiced by people who were voice actors in Sakurazo no Pet na Kanojo, one of my all-time favorite animes. Alice was voiced by Yui Ogura, who did Sorata's little sister. Yoshisuke Matsuoka voiced Narumi and Sorata, and the voice actress of Ayaka was Ai Kayano, of course known for her role as Mashiro, amongst many others. The voice actors were fun to discover, but what made this anime really good was that Heaven's Memo Pad is a very misleading anime. At first sight, this anime looks like a comedy, partially because of the vivid animation used by GC Stuff. But underneath that surface lies a much darker anime. Heaven's Memo Pad is not a comedy. It looks like one and it has comedy, but there happens some dark shit in this anime. It uses mature topics like drug use, gangs, prostitution, violence and many more. At first sight, there was nothing that led me to believe that this wasn't a comedy. So it was surprising, and surprising in a good way. So Heaven's Memo Pad slowly becoming darker by the episode all culminated in the final 3 episodes. It felt like the 9 episodes before that were building up to these. They slowly reformed Narumi's character to make him the person that he is in these final episodes. And for one of these episodes, I really regret not recording my reaction to it. Those of you that have seen Heaven's Memo Pad know which episode I mean, and I will talk about it in a second. But my god, did I not see that coming. My mouth fell open and I was speechless. The only thing that I could think was, what the fuck just happened here? It was the final push that was needed to complete that reformation of Narumi's character. Now for the negative points. First of all, this anime isn't finished, which sucks, because it was a lot better than I anticipated and I wanted to see more than the 12 episodes that we had now. But there was one thing that bothered me more, being that we don't know anything about Alice. Now, on one side it helps build the mystery around her character, because it's the point that she's a very mysterious character. But there are so many questions left about her. Who is she? Where does she come from? Where are her parents? And how does she finances all of this? Are some of the questions that rose when I finished Heaven's Memo Pad. And to have so many questions left about a main character felt quite frustrating. My second negative point is the spoiler that I have to tell, so skip to this point in the video to avoid being spoiled. Finally, I can talk freely about Ayaka's suicide. That was of course the moment that I was talking about in my final positive point. That moment was amazingly well brought and it caught me totally off guard. But I do have a small problem with how this storyline ended. I saw it coming, but they had to awaken Ayaka in the final moments. I admit I was a little bit disappointed, because it is such a stereotypical thing to do. Heaven's Memo Pad was a very dark anime, and still they had to go with that stereotype. So as a conclusion, Heaven's Memo Pad was a hell of a lot better than I anticipated. I actually didn't have a lot of expectations for this anime, also because I started watching it right after I finished Steins Gate. But it superseded my expectations by being a lot darker than I could anticipate. So overall I'm going to rate Heaven's Memo Pad at 4 out of 5 stars. GC Staff is one of my favorite animation studios, and Heaven's Memo Pad was again an anime by them that I really liked. They rarely disappoint me. Since Heaven's Memo Pad was such a misleading anime, I'm going to recommend 2 other animes that are not what they seem to be. The first one is Gakko Gurashi. This is the most misleading anime that I have ever seen, and I still vividly remember the day that I saw its first episode. And the second one is last year's Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Kaku. Again, it's not what it looks like, and that's all I'm going to say. It's better that you discover it yourself. And with that I conclude my review of Heaven's Memo Pad. As usual, you can find the full list of all my animes and reviews over at Anime Plant. As usual, I will put a link in the description box down below. Now if you want me to review a particular anime from this list, please put it in the comments. Also, if you have a recommendation for me, put it in the comments as well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, visit me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and subscribe to this channel for more reviews in the future. Now I will say arigatou gozaimasu, and I will see you all in the next video.